Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So today I've got an episode of Crushing Quarters for you where I'm going to take you through some cards that are just 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and 4 quarters. That's right, incredibly budget-friendly cards at each level that you need to be considering picking up right now. So with all that said, well, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below in case you're interested in any of them. And then also, let's jump into it. First up, we've got Accomplished Alchemist, a very good card at just 24 cents. Now, is this for every deck out there? No, but is it an incredible card for the right deck out there? Absolutely. If you've got any kind of life gain in your deck, I would say, not like an overly amount of life gain that you need to have in your deck, but if you've got a decent amount throughout or your commander can gain you life in some way, this card is massive. And, well, I've definitely had opponents be like, yeah, I need to deal with that right now or I'm done. A 2/5 Elf Druid for 3 and a green. Tap for 1 mana of any color. So that's not very efficient, but what is incredibly efficient is tap, add X mana of any one color, X the amount of life you gained this turn. That is absurd. There are some very cheap and efficient ways to gain life. There's also ways to gain life throughout the game. And again, like I mentioned, there's certain commanders that can gain you a good amount of life too. If you're in a deck that's got some life gain, this can be a mana dork that can tap for very easily like 5+ mana. So this can be absolutely huge, do some crazy things. I've had this tap for like 20 mana before. So yeah, this card can be incredibly impactful in the right deck. Speaking of impactful, Dollhouse of Horrors, a artifact for 5 that has pay 1, tap, exile a creature card from your graveyard, create token's copy of the exile card, except a 0/0 construct artifact is other types, and has this creature gets +1 for each construct you control, gains haste till turn active as only sorcery. This is a card that is crazy good in certain strategies. First up, hey, yeah, do you have creatures that maybe have some ETBs that you want to use and abuse? Great. Now this is a repeatable way to say, let's kind of reanimate a creature. Let's just say, hey, that creature in the graveyard, cool. Let's get you out of the graveyard. You're gone permanently, but let's get a copy of you. So I'm going to be able to get that ETB, which is huge. Again, like let's say you've got Rexage in your graveyard. Cool. Now all of a sudden, 1 mana tap, get a copy of that, which is probably about the exact same size as Reclamation Sage, essentially. Hey, 1/1. And then, I guess it's a 2/1. Regardless, basically, you are getting that ETB. You are getting that, destroy artifact or enchantment that is fantastic. And on top of that, the more and more of these constructs you get into play, the bigger they all become. So they can actually become threats pretty quickly too. That being said, yeah, if you've got maybe a creature-based strategy, maybe, ETBs that you can take advantage of, an artifact strategy, they have a lot of constructs, make sure you're considering a really cool card like this. And then finally, yeah, Cleansing Nova. This thing has been reprinted again and again and again, and it is, well, rock bottom when it comes to budget, which is fantastic for everyone around because, hey, it's only 23 cents for a fantastic Wrath, a sorcerer 3, white, and it says choose one, destroy all creatures, destroy all artifacts, and enchantments. So essentially, hey, whatever situation you're in, pick the side that's better for you. Do you have a lot of creatures on the board? Your opponents don't? Cool. Yeah, maybe get rid of the artifacts and enchantments. Do you not have any creatures on the board? Cool, get rid of the creatures. Basically, again, no matter what situation you're in, this can be very applicable, and yeah, it can be pretty one-sided for you in many circumstances. But let's move on to our category with 2 quarters cards. Again, cards that are 50 cents or less. Chasm Skulker. My goodness, is this card good? And I can remember not too long ago, not too many years ago, when this card was pretty expensive and, well, it's out of my budget. A 1/1 squid that costs 2 and a blue. Whenever you draw a card, you get a counter on this. So this can get pretty big pretty quickly. Again, you're in Commander. Commander players love to draw cards. Great. Even just like, upkeep, draw, cool, okay, counter on it, great. Yeah, just throughout the game, this can get bigger and bigger and bigger. More importantly, though, when it dies, you get X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, X number of counters on it. Yeah, this is basically a creature that become absolutely massive, just a giant one-off creature that then just pops, and all of a sudden, it is a ton of little blue squid creature tokens that are also, by the way, potentially unblockable against certain opponents that have islands. Yeah, blue is a pretty popular color in Commander, and the chances might be that, at least one of your opponents has a lot of islands, or even just one island, essentially, is what you need. And then you get those through. So yeah, Basically a go tall, go wide card that can really take advantage of something you probably already want to do in a deck, especially one that has blue. Draw a bunch of cards. Also keep in mind you can take advantage of proliferating effects, getting extra counter effects, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, a really cool card. Speaking of cool, Immortal Servitude. Now be careful when reading this card. It is pretty specific. Sorcery for X, Orzhov, Orzhov, Orzhov. Return each creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It does not say X or less, so that can get some players out there. That being said, my goodness, this is a card that for the right strategy out there can be a game changer. If you've got a decent amount of creatures at a certain mana value, yeah, this can just be a mass reanimation effect, unlike anything your opponents have ever seen before, and all of a sudden, yeah, they're going to be in trouble. Again, if you've got maybe, say, an aristocrat-style strategy, we're looking to sacrifice a bunch of creatures, maybe you've got a lot of low-the-ground creatures at 1 or 2 mana, you got like 6 or 7 of those in your graveyard, yeah, I'll pay 4 or 5 mana to reanimate a ton of creatures to get back out, a sacrifice for value, a really, really good card. Again, is it for every deck out there? Absolutely not. But is it an absolute bomb in the decks that it is for? Yes. So again, if you've got any kind of a strategy that's looking to get creatures in the graveyard, a new aristocrat strategy, sacrifice creatures, whatever it is, hey, check just to see, how many creatures you have at each different mana value, and if this card could be a huge, huge, huge play for you. And then finally, if it descends, 48 cents I should say, Alms Collector, yet another card that saw some reprints and finally is within budget. My goodness, thank you, Wizards. A 3/4 Cat Cleric with Flash that costs 3 and a white, but opponent would draw 2 more cards. Instead, you and that player each draw a card. Yeah, this card is brutally effective against your opponents. Again, you can flash this in. Opponent just casts a big draw spell, and they're like, okay, I'm going to draw like 10 cards. And you're like, no, you're not. So instead of them drawing more than, or 2 or more cards, I should say, we're each just going to draw a single card. So this can draw you a ton of cards throughout the game. And also, it shuts down your opponents from drawing a lot of cards as well. So keep that in mind. And of course, on top of that, yeah, really good with wheel effects. So make sure you're keeping that in mind as well. But let's move on to the third category, 3/4, where we talk about cards that are, well, up 3/4. Yeah, you got it. 75 cents for Crystal Shard, a really, really cool card, a really, really good card for, well, a type of deck that many players out there like to play. And actually, just not even for that deck, too. Artifact that costs 3, pay 3 and tap, or a single blue mana and tap. Return target creature to owner's hand unless its controller pays 1. This is actually pretty flexible. First of all, if an opponent's tapped out, this is just, hey, bounce and any of their creatures, essentially. Any of their creatures for just a single blue mana. Or 3 if you don't have a blue. Cool, so just bounce any of their creatures because they can't pay for that. So in a way, this is kind of like your opponent either needs to be like really on top of paying attention and like not tapping out completely, and then also just kind of taxing themselves every turn by not tapping out completely. Or hey, yeah, use it on one of your own creatures. Because, again, it says a charge creature to its owner's hand lets its controller pays 1. Doesn't say an opponent controls. You can bounce your own creature with this too, which is huge. Of course, you're not going to pay the 1. Anyways, basically, this is just a 1 mana repeatable bounce effect for you. And if you've got a deck that maybe has, well, a commander with a great ETB, or just, it was revolving around ETBs, or you just want to utilize this to save your commander in certain situations, or, certain, well, other creatures that might be crucial to your deck, absolutely crazy good card. Again, in a lot of scenarios, used to not be very budget friendly, and now very budget friendly, 75 cents. Speaking of which, Painful Quandary. This card used to be so expensive. This is a brutally good card in Commander for the right deck out there. Enchant for 3 black. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. Insane for just 71 cents. Yeah, this is brutal. This is crazy. And for the right deck, you can really take advantage of this where your opponents are going to be in big trouble. Again, every single spell they cast, they have to basically go down a card. And if not, they're losing 5 life. And yeah, sure, we're in Commander, we start off with 40 life, but that's still 1/8 of your life total every single time you cast a spell. If you're playing against, say, like a Spellslinger deck, they are so in trouble because they're like, well, I want to cast my cantrip, but I don't want to pay 5 life, and I have to go down cards. Yeah, it's going to be a brutal card. It's going to be absolutely brutal. Again, for the right strategy out there, again, you got to make sure you can take advantage of this in certain ways because it affects you as well. That being said, yeah, a crazy good card for just 71 cents. Finally, Clone Legion. A crazy cool card. I love this card. Sorcery for 9 mana in total. Yeah, it's decently expensive, but you're in Commander. You got plenty of ways to ramp, all right? 7 blue. For each creature target player controls, create tokens copy of that creature. You can target your opponents or you can target your own things, depending on, what situation you're in and what kind of deck you're playing. If you're playing like a ETB deck, cool. Maybe target your own things, get all their ETBs again. If you've got the best army, you just basically doubled up your own army. If an opponent has the best army, congratulations. You are the proud owner of the exact same army. And again, if they've got any ETBs or whatnot or any triggers, cool, you're getting those. So again, extra value out of that. This is a game-changing, game-ending card for just 73 cents. A really cool card, and one that works really cool other certain effects like Populate. I love Populate, and this says, hey, cool, you have creature tokens, populate those. Get really cool versions of cards. Just get extra copies of a certain really cool creature. This card's flexible, it's efficient, it's effective, it's crazy good. Go take out your punts with Clone Legion. Now for 4 quarters, well, let's start things off pretty simply with Nature's Claim. 96 cents instant for a single green mana. So effective, so efficient. Destroy target artifact or enchantments, can restore gains 4 life. Hey, sure, in like a standard format where everyone starts off at 20, yeah, you don't really want to give your opponent 4 life, typically. That's like more than a lightning bolt's worth of damage. That being said, in Commander, yeah, not a big deal at all to say, hey, sure, gain your 4 life. I don't care. I'm paying a single mana to destroy artifacts and enchantments at instant speed. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, this card didn't used to be anywhere near $1. Now it is, so there you go. Moving on, Persist. A crazy good card. Sorcerer for 1 and a black. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, -1/-1 counter on it. Yeah, that's a very low requirement. Cool, yeah, sure, all right. I've got plenty of great non-legendary creatures, and I can just get them back for a single card that is just 2 mana. Yeah, absolutely lovely. Yeah, I get a -1/- counter. That's fine. Whatever. Sure, I don't care about that -1 counter. Like, this is a 10 power creature or whatnot. Cool. It's slightly smaller now. Whatever. Or if you've got an ETB that you like to use and abuse, cool. Utilize it with this. A great reanimation effect. Again, just 2 mana. That's rare to find, and one again has a very low downside. Again, if you're playing Legendary Tribal, yeah, maybe not this, but again, if you're just playing a regular deck that just has maybe a couple legendaries in it or just none, yeah, utilize a great reanimation effect like this. Finally, a creature that you might want to reanimate, Decimator of Provinces. Oh my goodness, can this be a game-ending card? 7/7 Eldrazi Boar for 10 mana. But it's got to merge for 6 green, so you can actually cast a reduced cost by sacrificing a creature and paying the reduced cost to merge. Regardless, when you cast it, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample and haste until end of turn. Sorry, just gain trample until end of turn. This has trample and haste. There we go. This is a massive pump effect for your team that again says, hey, let's just pump our entire team +2/+2. Let's give you trample. Let's get damage through. And by the way, I'm a giant boar that is a 7/7 trample and haste, so I'm going to swing out as well. So yeah, this can be a great finisher for you in the right deck out there. And with that, this episode is coming to a close, so let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.